Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another lovely episode of the Over Sharon Show. I'm Brandon, and joined as always with Sharon. And today we have a guest, but before we get into that, we're going to do our normal thing. I'm going to pull up a little quote that I have here for everybody. And here we go. There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We shall consider later whether these evils derive their power from their own strength or from our own weakness. And this is from Seneca.
Wow.
All right, we're back. Got a card for us, Sharon?
I will.
Sharon.
Here in 1 second.
I got my owl feather with me today. I'm excited.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was telling everybody before we started recording. Ooh, the Knight of Pentacles.
Indeed.
It's a really good card. I like that. Pentacles have to do with the earth realm.
Earth, grounded extracts.
Yeah, exactly right. They have to do with your career, your family, anything that ties you to this earthly realm. And the knight is the masculine representation of that. And it's the highest one because the way you look at it, or the way that I look at it esoterically, the knight is actually above the king because the king is sitting. So it's like a stationary. The knight is in movement. He's out there and he's going and he's getting it. So I feel like that's what we're doing with this show, especially with our guest today. Yeah. What do you think, Sharon?
Well, yeah, Knight of Pentacles are about, like you said, about earthy stuff, family, wealth, success, your job, things like that. So I think that's a perfect card for this show.
Yeah, very synchronistic. Well, why don't you introduce our guest? You're so good at it.
Well, today we have James from Grounded Extracts. We've wanted to have him on our show for a while, and we were going to have him on our show eventually, but things just got busy. So we finally have him here with us. James, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me. My name is James, and my wife and my wife Najla, we have a business called Grounded Extracts, and we started in 2020. And it started because my family was sick or detoxing, and I really wanted to take care of them, and going through the conspiracy world and everything, and my own experiences with healthcare, prescription drugs, hospitals, doctors. You learn that these are more threatening establishments than anything, and they are not places that I want to deal with anymore, or want my family to deal with anymore. So I wanted to create all my own stuff. I didn't even trust the natural section at Walgreens because even they have shit in there and what they approve as natural. So you clearly see, oh, it's not the war on drugs, it's the war on us. They are against us. Like, that's the whole point. If you point out something on these boxes to someone, it's just like you're just pointing out, like that's what the game. They know the game, you know. And man, I'm going off in all different directions. But I wanted to make my own stuff because I didn't trust that, and I just started getting urges like nods to stock up on herbs. And I was a drug addict for 7 years of like hard street drugs. And then a few years after that of prescription drugs, which they gave me to get off the street drugs. So I knew a lot about drugs in the first place. So I knew how to work with herbs because I was already making like cannabis extracts and stuff to help me deal with the side effects of the prescriptions. So I already knew that cannabis was a medicine and should be used as such in the right setting, with the right intention. but it made me realize like what else is out there, and so I just went down this road with these strong, like I could hear it, like stock up on herbs, and I didn't even know all the stuff we use now. I never made a mistake in anything I bought because it's like I was just getting instructions. I bought a ton of stuff. I had no idea what it was. And I was in a huge natural, food, like a co-op type situation. And it was the biggest one I've ever seen. And they had just what seemed like hundreds of huge jars of different powders and herbs. And for some reason, just like 12 of them, just all in random areas stood out to me. So I got all of them. And now I use every single one of those in what we do. So it's really crazy the way it all worked out. And they're things that can help people with situations they would normally go to a doctor and get drugs for. So that was surprising to me too. Like even one of the things I bought, I had no idea what it was at the time, was red clover. And that has proven to be like, man, it's the best female supplement. My wife, my mother-in-law, and then countless people have told me like how much it helps them, like when they have cramps or, menstrual issues and just a bad mood. Like there's nothing to be offended about. These are just things that we go through that a lot of plant medicine was seemingly designed for, So I just went down that rabbit hole. I did Ibogaine right before that I did Ibogaine to kick out, prescriptions for my body and stuff. And, that we're in there for 10 years and Ibogaine is a natural tree that can remove decades of drug use in like hours, in a matter of a couple of days. So that also just blew my mind that nature exists in that fashion. And all this shit at GNC is to make you think that shit ain't possible. That shit is possible. So I wasn't myself for 10 years or more. Like I didn't know who I was. And then I kind of grew up with narcissistic, one very narcissistic parent, one very borderline personality disorder parent. And so I have Chiron in my first house. I got all sorts of shit that set me up for like trauma. But like wow. Healers have Chiron in their first house. So I, like most healers, so I'm trying to use every bad thing I've been through and alchemize it into good. If it's all for nothing and just a tragic story your life becomes if you don't do shit with any of the bad things you went through, so I'm trying to help people get, unjacked from the matrix like I was. So that's awesome. That's how we started.
That's great. And I do want to ask you about Ibogaine. I guess I do have a question about it because since you did that Crrow episode. Yeah. That was you, right? Who did the Ibogaine?
Yeah. Episode 379.
Okay. Since then, I put that in the back of my mind, just thinking how amazing that was. But two things were mentioned. One was Iboga and the other one was Ibogaine. And when Crrow recently did an episode with Clive DeCarl, I believe Clive was talking about it as well, saying that Iboga is one thing, whether it's the tree, and Ibogaine is the actual substance. Iboga I don't remember which is which.
No, you got it. You got it right. The Tabernanthe Iboga is the name of the tree itself. So Iboga would be the tree itself. So Ibogaine is what they alchemize Iboga into. They just take the bark of the root and they do some spagyrics, separate some alkaloids, and they're letting it get concentrated. And then they're harvesting all of the concentrate and all of the main alkaloids that are responsible for the psychoactive properties of it.
Okay, that's really awesome. Now, the other question I had as a follow-up to that was, I remember you guys talking about it on Crrow's episode that it's not legal to put it in your stuff or whatnot. Is it just not available? Like, is it hard to find? Is it like illegal to even use or?
No, I mean, well, listen, it depending on whose law we're following and which law is lawful, right?
Right.
So if we're going by what's on the books right now in the US, yeah, it's listed incorrectly as, and dubiously, like, as having no medical value, no redeemable quality whatsoever. It's just a scourge to the earth. Like that's all it is. So and so when you see like I'm living in an inverted realm right now. This it's like you kind of your handcuffs kind of just break off at that moment, like spiritually, because you're like, oh, okay, so I should just keep following laws that are harmful for me and everyone I know and love, because as long as I follow that law, that's what makes me a good boy. That's what makes me deserve that pat on my head, right? And it's like, damn, dude, the people that made these laws were fucked. And it's like the reason why this country is so fucked up right now is because they started doing shit like that. As soon as they declared the war on us, and just so they could bring more drugs in. Ibing's illegal because it's not addictive. If it was addictive, they would classify it in one way or another to make it so people were getting it. But it's the craziest shit in the world, and they act like it has no value. It's I don't know. So yeah, it's illegal in this country, not in every country. It's prescribable in other countries, but food that is legal here, like, is pure poison that they don't allow in any other countries. Oh man, it's just like do y'all feel like the laws are being flipped upside down? I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like they created a bunch of popsicle stick scaffolding and put a paper on it. It's like, those are laws. And it's like underneath it is like a brick fucking fortress that the law actually is. And I think that shit's crumbling,
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's crumbling too.
I think you nailed it with the inversion thing. I think that's exactly what's going on. And I've said this before, where cities and society and stuff, especially in this country, are just a direct inversion of a forest or of nature. So everything is backwards. So it's like, what's good, what you're allowed to eat is bad for you. What you're not supposed to ingest is actually good for you. Yeah, it's hilarious. But I love it because I'm a comedian and I see the cosmic humor and everything. So it just makes me laugh. I mean, when I first found out most of the things that I found out, I just laughed. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, people are getting away with it. Yeah. But
yeah.
What were we going to say, Sharon?
I was going to ask again about a little bit more about the Ibogaine, or I guess, even Iboga, for example. Like, I'm just going to hypothetically say, like, let's say somebody takes a root from that tree or something and replants it, or gets some seeds and somehow grows it, like, in their backyard or something, or in the forest on a big piece of property that they have, that's doable, right?
Oh yeah. People have nurseries.
Okay.
Of that, because they're trying to, conserve
in like PMAs, like, let's put nurseries in, let's make this nursery a PMA.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 100%, dude.
Like,
yeah. And they can't stomp that shit out. Like, no matter how many laws or whatever, like Brandon was saying, like, it has to course correct. You know what I mean? It's inverted. It has to flip back upside down. That's just the way shit works. And it gets too heavy when it's inverted and it flips right back up, like, and then it'll do it again.
Yeah,
I think we're headed for a major course correction. I think we're actually headed towards somewhat like of kind of a golden age. Yes. There's still going to be the government, still going to be there. There's probably going to be some figurehead that everybody worships. He's going to be terrible, but I think it's going to get a lot different. It's going to flip around. Yeah, several different sources. Like Owen Benjamin talks about that. This guy Archaics, his name is Jason, talks about similar things. And these people like this are way ahead of the curve. They could see things coming a mile away. So I have a really good feeling about the future. And the key, really, we say this all the time, just don't have fear. You're going to, you'll be taken care of as long as you don't have fear.
Bro, that's like the entire thing. Because the fear affects your choice. Every choice you make, every fucking choice you make is unaffected if you don't have fear. It's like, what is ruling you? What is influencing you,
Yeah. And it's funny. I was explaining this to somebody today. I was at my DJ office helping them move some stuff. And the guy who owns my DJ company, Dwayne, he was on a ladder and he was getting nervous. And he's like, I don't know if you guys know, I'm afraid of heights. And he's like saying all this stuff. And I was like, fear, ultimately, all fears are just the fear of death. So if you could just get over the fear of death because you're going to die anyway, you're really never afraid of anything. And they're just looking at me. I'm like, yep.
That's the whole thing. That's brilliant. That's the whole thing. Well, what's the worst that could happen? You could die.
Yeah.
And then you don't feel anything after you're dead.
I mean, have you ever died before? You don't even know what it is. Like,
no, after you die, you don't even have to pay the rent, I heard. So, it can't be that bad. No.
Yeah, it sounds like a relief. But yeah, man, I think, man, there's so many multiple sides going on at once. It's like, I don't know, man. It's all about your intentions and the right choices you make, and then everything falls into place. So yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think you're a great example of that. I love that you were just at the store picking stuff out and then it ended up working out for you. I feel like that stuff has happened to me at certain points too, with things that I bought that'll just sit on a shelf for like a year and then all of a sudden I need it, Yeah, it's amazing.
You were ahead of the game. You just like stepped into the future real quick and you're like, oh, I need that.
Exactly.
For later, for way later. Yeah.
That's how I feel about the tuning forks I bought.
Oh yeah. Big time. Those are like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to do an episode on it because I have one coming too. So maybe we'll do something about it coming up in the future.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Sure. So I have a question about, we were speaking about PMAs. So are you a PMA? Or would you consider
that's private membership association?
Yeah.
We not really. No.
Okay.
But only in some aspects of what we do.
Okay. It's still cool. I like how you guys are doing it.
I mean, thank you. That's the way to go. Like PMAs are the way to go.
I concur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And donation based too is great
Yes,
too. I was just telling a friend about that yesterday. She was thinking about maybe starting a business or whatever. And she's like, what about all these taxes and all this stuff? And I'm like, no, you just take donations. So I'm like, they can't stop donations, right? Like, yeah, it's just to have no fear. Cause I think a lot of people are afraid to do that because they don't know, either they don't know about it or they think they have to do this. When most of the laws, like you were just saying even, but most of this stuff is about compliance. They have some kind of weird law in the book, but all the rich people, they know how to get around all that stuff. It's just the people in the middle that don't know anything. Yeah.
Boys and Girls Club.
And they write it with loopholes. Every single thing I used to talk to this lady that I worked with at New York State, and she would write all the policy books, right? And so she would tell me about how she couldn't finalize a draft of a new policy if it didn't include multiple loopholes.
That's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. And they do it for their own people.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it's also a lawful thing to do because you have to have escape routes. You can't trap someone in a room without an escape route. Like if this is a game, right? You can't have all the advantage. You can't. No one can, Well,
also, I think if they don't leave loopholes and enough people get pissed off about it, that's when they have like a revolution or whatever on their hands. So they have to leave all these little vents and loopholes.
And they have to, but also on a spiritual level, they have to leave room for redemption. No matter what you're doing, you have to leave room for that, That's just part of the way laws work, or it won't stand. Or like you said, people will get pissed off and, that shit won't last.
Exactly.
Yeah. So before I ask you about you giving us an update on all your products and what they contain and how they can be used, I just want to ask about Best Earth before you get there. I know that I remember you saying on Crrow that it doesn't have iboga in it. But my question would be like, would you ever get to a place where you could acquire iboga or ibogaine and be able to make something for people to help them with it?
Yeah, that borders on more of our private PMA than anything.
Right.
But yeah, totally.
Okay.
I mean,
okay,
we're going to work with nature the way we're instructed to. And that's what it comes down to. And it's not, I'm not instructed to do that for everyone by all means. It's like,
it's a very unique situation.
100%. And it's like Best Earth though is so valuable because it's similar to ibogaine in terms of some of the alkaloids in it. So it absolutely does have on a very small level, have a similar mindset about it, I should say.
Okay. And you said that the similar mindset was, it kind of puts you in a place to like remember all the things that got you to where you were or something like that.
So we tell ourselves a million things about why we are what we are. We don't actually, I'm this, I'm that, but in your head, you're justifying shit constantly, right? Constantly. You don't even realize it's justification on top of justification on top of he did this, therefore that's why I had to act this way, blah, 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 blah. All of that falls away. Best Earth does it on like a slower, more subtle scale, but it gives you the truth. A lot of people don't like iboga because of that. A lot of people, not a lot, some people, I'd say 5% of the people I've worked with have contacted me and said, 5% or less, and said, it was really unpleasant. It made me think about things I didn't want to think about, a lot of life and death things, and I never want to do it again type shit. And it's like, okay, that's cool. You know, like Brandon said, though, what is death? If you can't get past the analysis of life and death, then yeah, you're not ready, bro. It goes so much further than that. Oh my God. I feel bad for people. I'm like, man, maybe in 2 more lifetimes you'll fucking be ready to crush. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel very blessed that I don't know, dude, because it does. When I first took it, I was like, oh my God, if we just spike everyone's drinks with ibogaine, the whole world, everyone would just start high-fiving and praying. And no, dude, not at all. Like some people, for me, it did that, you know, for Mark Rowe, some other people that we had on the Melodome, did wonders for. They're not on drugs anymore. They found their spiritual purpose. They they're just they learned so much about themselves that they don't even need to share with me because it's all personal, but it's like 30-40 years of therapy in 2 nights. That's the way some people put it. And it's I lost my train of thought.
That's amazing. No, we were just talking about.
You were talking about you should spike everybody with it.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, you shouldn't do that because some people take it and nothing happens. Some people take it and they don't have the right intention. So it gives them an effect, but it doesn't do what other people say it does for them. And then other people take a small amount and then, you know, 2 days later, they thought they were somewhere for months, you know, in a jungle somewhere in another country. Like, it's just, it really depends on who you are and how clean your vessel is. It's wonderful. Apparently, in one of my consults told me this, that under a microscope, it's unidentifiable, the iboga alkaloids, as in terms of classifying it as something. They said it's like 3D compared to everything else they look at. It's multidimensional and it's like spiritual. Like they can't, you know, like you see the makeups for drugs and stuff, they can't do it exact for that, you know.
Holy smokes.
It's pretty cool.
That's really amazing.
So that's like it's like, what do these things contain? They all have a body. And it's like, okay, so what else do they have? Well, their body can give effects if consumed. Okay, so that means it has a soul, right? Because it's got, you know, something ethereal being contained within the body, you know. And like, how do these things even work? You know, it's all spiritual. It's all spiritual. And certain things like iboga, like the soul of it itself is almost like a portal, you know, it's almost like a door. So when you do consume it, it all depends on you. Heroin's going to do the same thing for everyone. It's uniform, you know?
Yeah. I think it kind of works in conjunction with the way this realm works. We've talked about this a bunch on the show where we think this realm is more spiritual really than anything else. We're just experiencing it in a physical concrete way, but I think that it's really more internal, and we're kind of tricking ourselves. And when we do these certain plant medicines, it kind of gives us a peek behind the veil at what's really going on also. And then, like you said, certain people need it for different things. So I think if you're honest with yourself and you really want to heal, then it's going to do what it's going to do. But if not, I mean, maybe some people need to spend a month in the jungle. So that's what it gives them. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. Like my now good friend, that's exactly what he did. He spent like what he thought were, a few weeks to a few months in the jungle, just hanging out with these people, learning things. And it was like a vacation for me. The first thing that happened was I made like a pact with the creator that I wasn't going to live for myself anymore. And it was so intense. Like I was crying my eyes out because I was like, it's like I had to make the choice right then and there. No one can explain this away as like a drug experience, and I made the pact. And then I time traveled different decades and spent weeks in each decade. And then in between each time travel, I got to go to this island where my wife was and her family that I'd never met. She don't know who they are. And they were taking care of her. They were taking care of me. And I would jump. And it was so cool because everything I was learning in each decade was always in Babylon, always in a city type environment. And I'd always be doing drugs or watching someone do drugs or drink, whatever, something to do with Babylonian substances. And I would get to see how it affected them initially and then throughout the decade. And then I would get to see their end result. And I would get to talk to them all throughout, blah, blah, blah. And it showed me, and each decade had a different substance theme. And each of these substances were Babylonian and they all ended bad. And but all in different ways. And not just like how you think like, okay, well, it made me constipated, blah, blah. No. Like the ripple it has on all of your relationships throughout your family, like, and you get to see all of it. And dude. And so the in between, when I would go to this like island, where we would just be singing and dancing and they'd be eating, and all the food was all part of the island. They would literally pull it right from like it. All the food was like growing. Everything was like edible. So it was just showing me, and those times were miraculous when I was in that island area. My wife was there, just joyous. I felt loved and taken care of and protected. And I now see, just the past few nights, me and Najla realized this. They were trying to show me the comparison. They were teaching me about drugs and substances, but they were trying to show me a comparison of Babylonian life, versus nature. Like you can still have healing in nature in your life. And Babylon substances are not nature. That's why you got to get rid of them. Like that was it's just, it's such an intricate, like, benevolent experience. I could never go back for the rest of my life, and I don't care. I'm happy, dude. Like I spent time in the 1930s. Like I don't give a fuck. My life from, so I haven't heard anyone tell me anything like that. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for someone to do stuff like that. Cause other than the island, I barely spent any of the time in nature, which is way different from most people's experiences.
And this was all because of your Iboga experience?
This was all in my Iboga dreams.
Inside of your Iboga experience, you spent like years and decades.
And you're sober in these experiences. You don't feel like you're on Ibogaine. You're not like tripping anymore. When you get to that other place, you time jump.
You time traveled, dude.
There's no, I don't know what else.
It sounds crazy, but maybe you did. Could it be?
I did. I fucking know I did. I don't, what other people might say, I don't know. I get the most hate from like, I grew up in the church, but I get the most like shit talk from people that are Christians. They don't act very Christian, but man, it's like, why deny the power? Like, that he put into things. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you should use everything. Okay, but what are the benefits? What are the results? Like,
you're a different man and you're all the better for it.
Well, they're actually right in their own life, but that's what I always try to tell people. I think that everything is an individual journey, and anytime you try to group people together and they all have to do the same thing, it's just another form of collectivism, right? What's freaking communism? So from their point of view in their life, they probably don't need this stuff, but some people have been through some things, some trauma. Other people's families have major.
They think I don't need it. They think we don't need it. That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
They don't need it.
Oh, trying to tell you what to do because it's collectivism. They want you to do what they think is best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's fine though. You know, they're still right. And from the way that they're looking at it, that's all I mean. But
for themselves.
Exactly. For themselves. And that's why I think everything should be individual. And as long as whatever you do, I was telling somebody this, like, as long as whatever you do, whatever you have to pray to or do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, but if that gets you to walk the golden rule, the path of Jesus, the karmic path, I don't care what it is. You could pray to like a raccoon, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't bother me, but how do you act? It's your actions. It's not that's what I'm, worried about. Behavior. Exactly.
Yeah. 100%, bro. That's what I'm all about. Calling out behavior. And it makes you a very unpopular person.
Yeah.
Not that you should be doing it all the time, every family reunion you're at either. Be humble and, accept like what you just said, people are in their part of the journey,
Yes.
Don't make it harder for them. But just be careful. Be careful what you say. And also understand everything is a test. Like we got some really bad like trolls and stuff. And I'm like, Austin's like, we're going to fire up a stream and just be like, by name, point these people out, call them out, blah, blah, because the behavior needs to be acknowledged so other people know. But by the time we ended talking about it, we're like, oh, this is a spiritual trap. Like, it don't matter how right we are. This is not it, because then what if 150 other people come saying the same shit? We're going to address them individually? Like what?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to let people do their thing.
Yeah.
Just
it's like a baby. But quiet. They'll tire themselves out. Just let them freak out a while. Yeah.
Yes. That's true.
Yeah, very much indeed. I feel like we're on the topic of the spiritual journey, so maybe we'll just continue with that and we'll do the products after that.
Okay.
Cool.
So maybe just tell us, I mean, you just told us a kind of the major point, but like maybe tell us about how you grew up, what kind of background it was. A lot of us grew up Christian in some denomination or another, and then how you went through in your spiritual journey and where you're at now.
Yeah. So I grew up in a Christian home, going to an evangelical church, and I was the youngest, and my dad was addicted to Vicodin like my whole life. So he was just kind of like a miserable, quiet person that worked hard. He emotionally neglected everyone in his life. And Vicodin can do that and stuff too. But me and him kind of had a connection stronger than anyone else in my family did with each other. So that helped me growing up. But he was like miserable and always told me that the world was just about to end. You won't even make it to your 20s type shit. So I grew up believing that. And my mother left when I was 13 or 14. And she and my father had been having problems for like years before that. And it just really the way she did it was really bad. Like you can leave your spouse if they're emotionally neglecting you or whatever. That's fine. But she left the country and moved in with this dude she met in a chat room. And then when she got there, he got put in prison for like a year or two because he embezzled like $20,000 or 10,000 pounds or something from his own company. And then so I was like my therapist. I was like my mom's therapist for like that entire time on the phone. And I was the only one that would talk to her. It's just all this type of shit. She's a raging covert narcissist. You would think she's a great person if you met her. Most people do. If you know about covert narcissists, that means they're a good one, and it's like, she always told me it's better to look good than to feel good, like when she was getting ready every morning, just all these typical narcissistic things, they don't love you if you step out of line, what they consider stepping out of line. She didn't talk to me for years. Then my dad died, and she came back and took everything out of his house. She took $100,000 from me, my brother, and my sister was life insurance. So I was like homeless right after my dad died. And man, it was just crazy. She's just like a psychopath. So I grew up in a very unloving, narcissistic type, like dark environment. And yeah, man, and it's just crazy. So that just led me to some people say it can create like empathetic superpowers when you grow up like that. I don't know if I already had it in me to like be good at what I'm doing now, but I definitely, it definitely fucked me up, and so I started doing drugs. And when you see every Christian acting like a hypocrite, like I never renounced my faith or anything like that, but I stopped going to church. Yeah. And then I started, after I got clean with Ibogaine and stuff, I was already on the path to learning about conspiracies and all that. And then, I always wanted to know the truth. So I investigated like the scriptures and went back to older translations and the uncanonized books. And I think that's all really important to look at, So where I'm at now, I don't know. I think the scriptures, like a lot of things, are like ripple effects of reality. It's like, no, the Bible's about astrology. I'm like, it sure is. At the same time, though, like the truth of the world can be represented in astrology and through a man and real events on the earth. Like I think it only makes sense that the truth would be expressed in every type of manifestation that it could, so I like to look at it like that. But I do want to learn the right names and but at the end of the day, like, what do you guys think? It like you said, it's more about your behavior, like Ibogaine strips away all the bullshit. Like I said, you're not thinking about this legalistic type shit. Like you realize it's about your intentions and what you've done in your life and who you've treated like what, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. I concur.
Yeah, I
That's
couldn't
where
agree
I'm at.
more. Yeah, I think that when people get into literal interpretations, it's just like the law, like you were saying. It's like the thing that happened with the Jewish faith, where all the priests were gone and it was all the law people that were left, right? That was so I feel like that's kind of what happened. And I like what you said about that, because it could really be both. It could all be this astrotheology story that's written in the stars with the son of a virgin birth and all this stuff. But it could have also happened. It could have happened a few times. I mean, we don't know. That's, we can't really make claims about it. But I always say, though, but that's just a fun conversation to have. How's your behavior? You know what I mean? Like, because no one's going to come save you but yourself.
That's perfect.
Yeah, you could have people help you and pick you up and stuff. But I always say there's one mountaintop, but many paths, so
Yes.
You have to find your way up there for it to make sense, because if you're just phony holy, then it's not really making sense to you. And then you still have all these urges and this other stuff you want to do. You're kind of living a split life, and that's just going to fuck you up too. So, I mean,
bro, but Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how they do it. That's how they get away with it. These people don't want to change their behavior because I'm a broken man. It's just easier if I just keep watching porn. Like, it's crazy, dude. People don't want to take responsibility, man, for fucking anything. And that's like, I don't have a problem with people, saved in the name of Jesus. That's cool and everything. Like, I get that. What is your behavior like? And if someone points out bad behavior, do you right away point at Jesus like he's your lawyer? I mean, and they will say yes. And they like that concept that he's my Lord before. Yeah. Like I get all that, but the way they use that shit and condemn each other. And it's like, man, it's not
just, even Christian.
No. Like, and not testing the scriptures. They're not even following their own book. Why haven't you questioned any of the shit that's going on? Why did you strap up your face when you went into church and put satanic holy water like in your hands? Like what? these people aren't testing the scriptures. They're not just doing what they think is best. Like, I doubt that. I don't believe that. I think these people are filled with sin and shame, and they want everyone else to be, and that's it. I don't think it goes much further than that, you know?
Yeah, it's just a fear of being who you really are. And if you, because like Brandon and I say this all the time, like, if you feel like doing something, just do it till you're done. Like, one day you're going to get sick of it. Maybe, maybe not this lifetime, maybe another lifetime, but do it till you're done. And then be okay with it.
I love that. I think that's
what
great.
It is.
Yep. And I think people need to hear that. And no, we're not talking about baby murder. We're not talking about anything ridiculous. But like what you're talking about, like certain plant medicine or even drugs, like, right? Certain people like myself could be the Karen of the first house thing, but I don't think I'm worthy of like anything. So I always think I'm wrong. And it's because of my parents and blah, blah, blah. But like like what you just said, do it until you're done doing it. Like, I think people keep going back to addictive things because they feel like they shouldn't, but they're drawn to it. And then they do it. And it's just like a guilt cycle. Yes. But man, if you know, like, okay, no, I'm just going to keep doing this until I don't. If you know that, it's almost like breaking those handcuffs. Like, it's a trick.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And the thing is, I know that there's people out there who don't like this concept of self-love because they think it's new agey, but there's validity to it because there's two sides to self-love. There's the narcissistic side, and then there's the real side. In one case, you love yourself because you have to love yourself first before you can love anyone else. And that's self-care. That just boils down to self-care. But the other one is a path of service to self, where you are self-absorbed, but it's because you haven't healed all the wounds, all whatever your childhood wounds or whatever, and you're not willing to break down the walls and let other people in. You're really just hiding behind something. And I would say that's closer to the narcissistic side of self-love. And people, like, there's a lot of Christians who will be like, oh no, that's demonic and that's satanic and that's new agey. And it's like, you're looking at one side of the coin. There's two extremes of that.
And it's like, those people will always be there. Do we even entertain these fucking people? Or like, are we supposed to be planting seeds? I'm really at a loss. Because it's like people that aren't willing to accept there could be propaganda in their own life, but they think it's everywhere else, but it couldn't possibly touch them. It's like,
we plant seeds. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do,
Yeah, we don't woke rape here at the Oversharing Show. We just overshare and plant seeds.
That's right. Don't scream at the seeds. It won't grow fast.
Yeah, and don't keep checking them. I'm just kidding. Don't keep digging them up.
Don't scream at the seeds. That should be a shirt.
Say what, Brandon?
That should be a t-shirt. Don't scream at the seeds. They're not going to
grow
faster.
Very true. Yeah. So I guess maybe let's segue into like alchemy and like, if like, do you consider yourself kind of like an alchemist? And and then you can tell us about your products.
Yeah. Okay. I guess technically I'm an alchemist because I'm transforming matter or material from one state of being to another using different methods. So technically, by definition, I'm an alchemist. And then what do you want me to say? What else did you say?
Okay, so like now tell us about your products and like if you want to go through each one and tell us. I know your website has like a little like couple words of description, but sometimes it may be because you're not allowed to say what else it can do for people.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you could, be more elaborate,
sure.
That would be, you can overshare.
Okay, cool. That's perfect. So the website, the Crrow series, the law series was incredible for me because, and just I always picked up on the way things were said. So that's why my website is like that. It's written so I can't be touched in terms of like legalities.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's why it is what it is. But yeah, so Best
Love
Earth
it.
we talked about, that helps. That's helped me and people in my family replace Adderall and Ritalin, things like that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's helped people in my family and get off OxyContin. They combined it with Kratom and CBD oil, but now they're only taking Best Earth once in a while. He actually hasn't gotten it from me in a while, but I mean, that's what's great about what we make. We don't sell anything that is going to be like, okay, you're now a guaranteed customer for life. Like you shouldn't be taking Best Earth forever. It's more an on and off type of thing. You can, I do, not you can, I do take it as much as I want. It's not bad for you in any way. But it's great for focus and mental clarity. And habit control, I think is best for myself, at least. Like I quit smoking cigarettes and cigars, just from taking 2 capsules. Some people just take 1, but 2 capsules every day on an empty stomach, every AM. And that would make me just want to smoke less and less. It kind of does what Effexor is advertised to do without the nightmares and like suicidal thoughts, etc.
Damn it.
And
so for like someone like me who I just ordered some Best Earth,
right.
And I don't necessarily have like drug addictions, but you said mental clarity, focus, and then like just in like maybe even like, because sometimes I find myself if I'm in the kitchen, I'm just like in the fridge, in the pantry, like snacking.
My wife, she constantly talks about how we need to advertise it for weight loss, for weight control, I should say. So I don't have, I could fast for the rest of my life and my metabolism works very fast. But for a lot of people, Best Earth will definitely help them from overindulging in that way from our experience. Yeah, 100%.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, because it's like it has mild stimulant-esque effects, kind of like coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can it replace coffee?
Yeah. I think it can replace a ton of stuff. I mean, you'll still have,
wow.
If you just stop drinking coffee, you're going guaranteed to have some kind of rebound effect from the caffeine itself. But after a couple of days, you should be fine. And if you're taking Best Earth, it should distract you from the caffeine desire,
Okay. Cool.
So normally people get 25 capsules with that with the bottle. So would you recommend that they do it like twice a day until it's done and then
No, just once a day. It'll last all day. Oh, you mean caps?
2 capsules a day, yeah.
I start with 1. I would start with 1 because the results people have gotten, so that's 25 doses in a bottle. Some people do take 2 though, and it's like if you're heavier, if you're bigger, taller dude or woman, you might want to take 2, but everyone should start out with 1. And I pack them as tight as possible. That's why I make my own. Why I started making my own capsules in the first place. If you buy any type of herbal capsule from anywhere, you can squeeze it, and it'll indent. Not my capsules. They don't move when you squeeze them. So I mean, that's the goal. Once in a while, you get one that has a little less. But I put a lot of time into that. So 1 is like one of my capsules is usually 2 of someone else's.
Oh, all right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So you'd recommend they do it for 25 days then and then see how it goes from there?
No. So this is what I would do. I would take 1 a day for like a week and then see where you're at, or 2. That's what I would do. And then after that week and a half, if you feel like it's not meeting your needs, then I would go 2 caps a day for another week. And then I would reevaluate. And also know this, it's really good if you're into astrology because you kind of see things coming down the road, or you anticipate negative energy, or, you guys understand all that. So Best Earth brings things to the surface and it makes you kind of raw, and you're not really concerned without like saving face, or it can make people finally point out what they've wanted to point out for months in their relationship, but they never had the balls to. But they take Best Earth and then everything clicks into place. And they're like, no, I should say that. Why would I not say that? That's the truth, blah, blah, blah. So, and then it can cause a fight. And then people are like, hey, this Best Earth shit made me fight with my girl. It's like, no, dude. And anytime I've had this experience, they come back to me and they're like, I want more. Thank you. You were right, you know, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see. But the astrology, man, if it's a raw, rough astrology, it's almost like Best Earth gets more potent. So it's like definitely spiritual.
When you say realm. Raw or like a raw astrology, what do you mean by that?
Like a full moon cycle or something like that? Retrogrades,
or like your whole birth chart is like riddled with like
you're just more tuned in. You're more tuned in to what's there. That's it. And you can
it makes you more intuitive, like you can intuit things better.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, like Owen, you know the way Owen I can tell when he takes Best Earth.
Oh wow.
Yeah. When I listen to history, I'm like, okay, today was either this, that, or
wow.
So yeah, he's you know, he gets great effects from it. He's a great example of, you know, he can just tune into what he's saying and just go a million miles an hour. That's who it's helpful for, you know, people.
Okay.
Not just streamers. I'm just rambling, but it's
no, you're fine.
You could use that in your life too. I mean, you don't just have to be a streamer too. I see
right.
Exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So many people use it for work. Another friend of mine stopped drinking, and he just takes Best Earth like every other day or something, and he drank for like a decade plus, and he's been clean now since he started the Best Earth for a few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna go through my list of the things that I
had some.
About.
You had sent me some wild lettuce extract.
Yeah.
And so I want to know about that stuff. It said it's for pain relief. How do you suggest people take that? And what are some of the benefits and stuff like that?
Wild lettuce grows like wild all over North America. You'll see it like on the side of sidewalks and highways. It's crazy. We have this medicinal. I mean, everything medicinal is growing everywhere around you at all times. But this one is a green leaf that has a white sap in it. And the white sap has the painkiller, you know, attributes. And people call it wild opium lettuce. Some people call it.
Oh, wow.
It's not an opiate. It doesn't have anything similar to opioids in it, but it does provide pain relief and anti-inflammatory properties. So with that, we made it specifically for your teeth. So if you have that, and honey hemp can be used for sleep and anxiety and stuff. But we mainly use those two for teeth. So if you're having, or gums, or any type of teeth pain or an infection or whatever, that will at least kill the pain. It'll make it way bearable. So if you put 1 to 2 droppers of either the honey hemp or the wild lettuce on the affected area directly on it, the pain should go away within a second. And you shouldn't have to reapply it for, in the worst cases, maybe every 10 minutes or something, and just let it sit there in the worst cases. And then other people, we know, I've sent it to, with teeth problems, and they only use it once in a while and the pain will go away. So, you know, because cannabis is medicinal, so is the wild lettuce. I do believe there's healing going on. It's not just simply squelching the pain, which is just blocking the pain receptors normally in allopathy. But yeah, it's healing. So I do believe there's some healing going on there. And we also pray over everything we make, like every single bottle and every single batch of whatever's going into the bottle gets prayed over. So our stuff is prayed over multiple times. And it works. This shit works. But it also helps people with, like, I helped my friend with shoulder pain, the wild lettuce. It helps him with like shoulder inflammation. So, you know,
yeah. I had some pain in my neck, and I took the dropper and I put it under my tongue and I let it sit there for a while, and it definitely did help. I mean, it was pretty, it was awesome. So
I love it. Great.
All right, Sharon.
Thank you for that.
So I was just gonna say, I mean, if you want, you can go through every single one of your items that you carry, or we could just keep asking you about different stuff.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, let's see. How about tell us about the liquid kratom, or just the kratom in general?
Yeah. Kratom is awesome for everyone. It's a very controversial thing. It's just a leaf that grows off a tree in Malaysia, Indonesia, and stuff, and it's just a leaf, and it grows wild there, and they just take it off and they chew it, or they dry it out, and there's different curing methods. That's how you get different vein colors. There's no vein colors. They're all the same. There's different types of the plant, but the veins color is gotten by the way they cure it, the way they dry it. So like a white would just be dried in the sun. You get a green vein by drying it inside in the dark, and you'll get a red vein drying it in the dark while re-moistening it every time it gets dry. Re-moisten it, and you do that for some time. So that's how you get a red vein. The red is more suited for pain relief. The whites are typically for energy, well-being, and the greens are somewhere in the middle. So, and then there's yellow and gold as well, but I'm not as experienced with those curing methods, but it's usually not a different curing method. The yellow and the gold you get when you combine strains or veins are different curing methods. So I use a white and a green primarily, and a smaller amount of red to come up with our kratom. Our powder is what we call emerald gold vein, and it is very pure kratom leaf powder that we get directly from the growers, and they're like, we've gotten great reviews on ours. So you can go to a gas station and buy kratom, and like I said, you can squeeze the pills, you can take a handful of pills, capsules, and you might get some effect. So I didn't want that. I don't want to have directions where it's like, take a handful of capsules. So that's why I make our capsules way more packed, and I use the best quality. I can't have my name on something if it's not top shelf quality. So
what's your sun's sign? Just kidding.
My sun, it depends. Are we talking Vedic or tropical?
Just the I'm guessing tropical, which is what people just know, because I don't even know what my Vedic stuff
Tropically, I'm Pisces, and my sun would be Pisces. Vedic, I'm Aquarius.
Okay, interesting. All right, sorry, interrupted you. Keep going.
No, you're good. So most people will use like one capsule for energy, pain relief. Not pain relief, I'm sorry, just energy motivation. So for pain relief, then you have to take 2 or more capsules, and then you'll get, mild pain relief effects. A lot of people compare it to opiates. I can see why they do that, because it does act in a similar way in one aspect, and that's it. It does not share any of the other qualities in terms of pinned pupils, constipation, sheer addiction, fiending, sickness, destroy your body. That's all opioids. Detach you from reality, completely make you numb. Now, kratom shares none of these qualities, none of them whatsoever. So I get very tight when I hear people just want to call it another opiate. People have called this drug dealers, and I'm like, you clearly have no idea what we're doing. And it's like, you're the opposition. You're my test for the day. So
good way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. So for the liquid, not everyone can take capsules, but to get the effect from it, you can. And if you can't, you can just open one of the capsules and put them in a little bit of frozen yogurt or something, and melt it and stir it around, and you won't even taste it. But if you still want to go the liquid route, we do make a liquid, and then we use mostly like white strains, but it is still a gold. It's a combination, but we make it so it's formulated for motivation and energy. So the capsules would be if you want pain relief overall, or just they're very different. They're different. They're the same thing, but they're different. So you just have to try one or the other and, compare. But usually 1 to 2 full droppers of the Kratom liquid will give people like motivation. Like you're in get shit done mode. That's what I call it. That's what it does for me. And we put frankincense, myrrh, cinnamon, citric acid in it, and that will prime your cannabinoid and opium receptors to be able to receive the medicine better so it can act better. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Wow, this is a great episode so far. I'm really excited about all the
I'm
stuff that he's
loving
talking
it.
about. Yeah,
I
this is.
know. I can't wait to get my order.
Can y'all give me just 1 second?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
All right. I'm sorry.
No problem.
So
Yeah.
So,
what did you get? You got the Best Earth.
yeah, and I also got CBD oil too. So I was going to ask him a little bit about that because I have friends that make or they own 2 CBD stores, and they're actually they don't make their own stuff themselves, but they have somebody that makes it for them, and they're like they know exactly what goes into it. Yeah, so it's really interesting to me. I want to know more about CBD a little bit.
Okay, so you did get some from him, and you got the Best Earth and the wild lettuce. What did you say you did to the wild lettuce, or with the wild lettuce?
I put it under my tongue because it's funny too, because when I was just listening to Crrow, when he was talking to Fortune about homeopathy or however they say it.
Yeah, exactly. Homeopathy. Yeah.
That's what he was saying. You put it under your tongue, and I've taken other supplements and stuff where you put it under your tongue. So it was just kind of a natural thing for me to just squirt it under there. And because it's alcohol basically, because it's an extract. Okay. So I just let it sit in there and, maybe for like a minute or so, and then I'll swallow it. Yeah.
I do that with like colloidal silver. Like if I'm starting to feel like, I might be coming down with something, I do that with colloidal silver under my tongue, and I just hold it there for a little bit.
How's it work out for you?
No, I like colloidal silver. And when I run out, I'm just going to go to my sister's house because she makes it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How does she make it? I think we talked about this before. But...
You can make colloidal silver. I've just never looked into it, but my sister and her husband make it now. So.
Oh, awesome.
My neighbor used to make it, colloidal silver.
Yeah.
He's got it's like an electronic, like it's like a piece of silver with like electrodes. Yeah. And he puts it in the water and it like charges the water or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, we wanted to ask you about CBD next.
Sure.
CBD extract. So I actually have friends that own 2 CBD stores down in Daytona, Florida, and they had a supplier, but after a while they realized that they could get with the lab and have them make this stuff for them specifically, so they know exactly what's in it. So they have some really good high quality products. But what do you usually recommend CBD for? Dude,
CBD is incredible for so many things. And like, as we've done grounded extracts, we keep learning more and more what it can be used for. We call them side success instead of side effects. We call it with side success because it's not bad. Yeah. It's just like surprising little side things that happen that we weren't, expecting. And it hasn't been bad yet, but it helped our friend Stature Man Bear stop using his albuterol inhaler. Now he only takes, and he doesn't even take full droppers. He takes like a quarter of a dropper. He takes 5 drops of CBD oil, like orally. And he doesn't need his inhaler anymore. And he doesn't use it at camp anymore. He said he goes camping and stuff and that's when his allergies are bad and he starts really needing the inhaler, and he hasn't used it. So that's great, and I think people should know that about it. But I personally mostly use it for diaper rash ointment, I would say. And then it's really great topically. If you have any pain and you want to rub it out, that's a great oil to use for like that. And the cannabinoid oil. Yes, 100%. Yeah. And what I use it for though, personally, would just be just like relaxing. Like instead of popping a Xanax like I would have maybe back in the day, I would just take 1 or 2 full droppers of that, and then maybe at nighttime to help sleep, like 3 full droppers.
Cool.
But, yeah.
I actually took I don't even know how much I took because I can't remember what, I don't have yours, but I do have some CBD and I don't know the potency of it, but I probably took what's equivalent of 40, what would it be, grams or
40 milligrams? 40.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
Before I did the show, because I was feeling a little bit like, I don't know, it was so weird. I was feeling a little bit anxious and I didn't know why.
The energy is like anxious energy yesterday and today. I feel like it was do you guys feel like that? Like I felt like it was a little rough.
I think it's the full moon coming on, maybe.
Yeah.
Today is a full moon tonight, actually.
Oh, is it gonna be tonight?
Yeah. So that could have something to do with it.
It could be that, yeah. So
Fortune even said that in the episode. Sorry to cut you off, but he said with certain people who are open spiritually around a full moon, I forgot what he recommended, but he said sometimes you get a little that way.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I forgot about that. It's because I guess I was never one to like pay attention to be like, oh, I'm being affected by the moon. So I didn't pay attention. So
We all being affected. People in the bear chat will be like, oh, astrology for what did they say? Libertarianism was astrology for guys or some shit. I don't know. But it's like, dude, there's so much truth to it. You can make a lot of jokes about it, but it's like until you experience this shit.
Well, it's just so heavily demonized by the quote unquote Christians. And if you just look back to when Christianity was created by the Romans, there's a reason why, because a lot of the pagan people, that's how they were able to function. They were aware of all the cycles in nature and everything, and they were fine. So they couldn't control them. So if you want to control people, you have to get them to get their validation from you instead of from themselves. So
they took the clock off the wall. That's all they did. They went into a room and they just took the clock off the fucking wall and they're like, figure it out. And they're like, please tell us the time. Everyone's just like, now, please. Well, can you tell us? But you know, right? Like, and it's just, and that's what it is, dude. The sky clock fucking tells you what time it is. And that's in Genesis. People need to get their shit together, bro.
Well, I still have another question on the CBD. So like when I first ever shopped for CBD, this was several years ago. I was like asking all sorts of questions because I didn't know, because I would see the little bottles. They were like, 1 ounce bottles or 2 ounce bottles. And,
right.
And then they would just say like, I don't know, 2,500 milligrams or something on that. And I'm like, okay, but the same size bottle would say like, 7,500 milligrams.
So it's less concentrated.
And then I'd be like, wait, what? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's just less concentrated. So they're just not using as much flour for those lower doses, or they're literally just diluting the original strong dose.
It's probably being diluted.
And it's like, so if you talk to Fortune, like we were talking about before the show, does that only exist with water? Is homeopathy only...
Good question.
You know what I mean? Like, does it only carry it and make it more strong if you're diluting it with water? Because that's what Fortune was saying. So maybe this is oil. So I don't know if that
right. And what kind of oil do you use?
We use MCT. We use coconut oil, just like liquid coconut oil. Yeah, that's the best thing. I've tried a ton of different things, but that's the best one. It
is the best one because I tried a couple different ones, and the MCT coconut oil was the easiest. Yes, and it's best for you, like in terms of just overall health, like propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, vegetable oil. A lot of this shit is like not good for you. I've used all of it, but I'm glad I landed on the coconut oil for sure. Yeah. And what is the potency of your CBD for your whole bottle? Or is that how you do it too? Do you just... Yeah. Well, I don't put milligrams on anything because our batches do vary, and I don't want, it's not that we're not consistent, but I don't believe in quantifying literally everything. I really don't. I believe in using the amount that has seemed to work in the past and just keep going with that. So I'd say our bottles are around 2,000 milligrams per bottle. So they're definitely on the higher end of that. I try to make it as strong as possible so you don't have to use as much either.
you know.
Okay. Yeah. Good call. Let's see. I have more questions about more products. Brandon, you done with your product list?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So tell me about stinging nettle extract.
Yeah, stinging nettle is great. Stinging nettle is one of those things that I saw and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I feel like I should be using that. So it's just awesome. It does so many different things. It's really good for inflammation, great for women. It's good for everyone though. But yeah, it can help people with like leveling out their blood sugar levels, and you know, it helps even people's blood pressure out. Stinging nettle, and it has like similar cannabinoid type effects that cannabis does. Not as psychoactive, but it definitely does. I one of the only things I've gotten hit for online was on Instagram. I posted a picture that you see on my website. It's just of a bottle that says stinging nettle on it. And we got hit for violating community guidelines for, you know, drug trafficking and all this shit. And it was just stinging nettle. So I'm like, oh, damn, stinging nettle must be really good for you. So it is. It's nutritionally packed. It's got, it's extremely rich in silica and sulfur. It's like famous for that. So it helps people with thinning hair and stuff. And, you know, it's, man, and we put the best intentions into it. It helps with inflammation for people, fever symptoms. It's, you know, just overall immune strengthening. That's what I would say. And it's very natural tasting. I put honey and certain things in other tinctures, but I want people to just have, it's very unique. So I want people to have, you know, the exact taste when they take it. Yeah, it's intense. It's a very earthy, very earthy flavor. Stinging nettles. Great way to put it.
I sometimes make a tea, and I've heard that stinging nettles is also good for allergies. So, like if you have tea leaves, and then you make like a really, really strong batch of it, and you drink that, that's allegedly supposed to help you with allergies, reducing allergy symptoms.
100%. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's see. You talked about the honey hemp a little bit. Was there anything else you wanted to say about the honey hemp?
The honey hemp is an alcohol extract. So the CBD is the coconut oil extract, and the honey hemp is CBD. I just think honey hemp sounds better.
Yes. Okay. I got it. So it's
similar.
Still CBD. Okay.
Yes.
But this honey hemp one is an alcohol instead.
And it has honey. Yeah. So that's the main difference.
Okay. And so how would you use that? How would I use that? What kind of things could I use it for?
For like calming at one full dropper, it could do that. At like 2 to 3 full droppers, it could make, if you took it at night, it could make you relaxed and maybe drift into sleep a bit easier. And then again, what I was saying earlier is if you have any teeth issues where you're experiencing pain in your teeth, you apply that directly to the tooth or the area, and it should cut the pain by like 95%.
Wow. So
those are my main uses for it. Now, don't use that as diaper rash ointment. Only the CBD. Alcohol. Right. That's not going to help. It might help, but it's going to hurt.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And then you did mention a little bit about the red clover for women.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Red clover grows all over North America as well. So you can just pick this and make a tincture of it yourself. And we make a very strong tincture of red clover. And I put honey in that as well, because marrying honey and red clover flower is like a great combination in terms of taste, but also medicinally. Honey is great for you. And we use, raw honey from local farms in New York. So if you're not in New York, it won't act the same. But yeah, that's phenomenal for my wife Najla says, to make you feel like a woman. It's strictly for feminine. It balances your estrogen levels. So, and it's also very healthy for your lady parts. It's also very cleansing and very, very soothing to all that. So if you're in pain during that time of month, or just in general, if you're having a bad day, it should perk you up a little bit. It at least does for nausea, like big time. But if you look into it, like I said, a lot of physical health benefits as well.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm looking at your store here, so I can ask you some more stuff.
Sure.
Tell us about Banju.
Yeah, Banju
stock. It must be really
Banju.
good.
That we call it Banju Plus because this Banju was originally created by Dr. Cbd.
Okay.
At least as we know of it today, it was created by him. But it's a combination of Burdock Root, Santa Maria or feverfew, blue vervain, and elderberries. So those are all rich in iron and extremely good detoxifiers. They're mostly blood purifiers and nutrient packed. So Banju is excellent. Like, it's a syrup because we want the immediate nutrients to get absorbed, the nutrients to get immediately absorbed. So we also put echinacea tincture in it. Raw honey, cardamom, ginger, and cherries. So that's what I'm adding to it that Cbd didn't have. And I just feel like that made it taste better. And it's more effective. So we make our own echinacea tincture and put that in it. And yeah, it's just great. So like the first time I took it, I took 2 tablespoons, and Najla too. Instantly, our eyesight got better. Now it does not happen for everyone, especially if you're like super unhealthy. But if you're already on your road to health, I've seen it do that. But it's great for immune strengthening overall. Like, that combination is phenomenal for detoxing too. It will really expedite the process.
Okay. And what is it detoxing exactly? Like some things detox the liver, some things detox.
Yeah, liver's a big part of it. This is like full body, but liver would be a big part of it because of the burdock. And yeah, it's giving you immediate nutrients while and that is what fights off things. That is what detoxing is. It's just strengthening your network of chain reactional systems in your body that work off one another to just work smoother. You know what I mean? And being in America, we're filling ourselves with shit all the time. There's always shit to detox from you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Chaga mushroom.
Yeah. Chaga is the king. Rishi's the queen. And I love chaga because it tastes like chocolate almost. And we make a tincture of it. It's also in Best Earth, but we do make a tincture of it. And it's, I'd say, the least alcohol tasting, because of like that chocolate taste kind of overwhelms it, which is great. So like, it's also really easy to give to children and stuff if you're trying to do something like that.
Okay. But, so what do you use it for? The chaga double extract.
So it's overall kind of like stinging nettle. It's packed with nutrients. So it's got a ton of things in it. It's like very vitamin D rich. It also has iron, magnesium, potassium. And what's great about it too is like it's got really high melanin. So it really helps people. Like, they put it in anti-aging serums and things like that. Because it helps your skin. Melanin is what makes you from not, it like takes away wrinkles and stuff, basically. Okay. or prevents them, I should say, melanin. So you lose melanin as you get older, and then that starts appearing. So it's good to retain the melanin. It's really good for that. But people use it for all sorts of things, like inflammation, low blood sugar, like lower if they have low blood sugar. It evens it out, kind of like Hawthorne, Bilberry, stuff like that. Helps people with arthritis And then then we get into the rocky areas of like, what claims are made up, in terms of like curing diseases and stuff.
Okay.
I don't make any claims, but it's like chaga and reishi are famously known for slowing the progression of cancers or fighting cancers in general. Like they're just well known for that. So I think that's a good thing to focus on,
Awesome. So while we're at it, tell us about your reishi.
Yeah, reishi is awesome. So we'll usually use that for like calming. Same thing like with CBD. If I'm going to take like one dropper of that, I kind of will get out of my funk if I'm in one, or, just normal things you take like Xanax for. I know I keep going back to that, but it's a good reference point, because like Xanax does provide certain things that makes people want to take it. It's just not pure poison, purely evil with no benefit. It's like, it's so bad because it does have a benefit, just like every lie has a little bit of the truth in it,
Mm-hmm.
but so we still want those benefits, but without all the poison and all the side effects. So, and you do lose like the high from it, but we're not doing this for the high. We're doing it for the medicinal benefits. So if we take one full dropper, and again, cancer fighting, completely nutrient packed. But if I take one dropper, like I'll feel calm. If I take two full droppers, I can feel like that's almost too much for a situation that calls for like calming. And then I'll just kind of get like, I just want to sit down and relax. But if I take 3 full droppers, then I'm guaranteed that I'm going to sleep. This is just for me. I don't know how it'll work on you, but if I take, or Najla, we take 3 full droppers, like we're going to sleep. So, yeah, that's mainly what we use. And it's called the Queen. And I think mainly because certain people say that it lowers your testosterone. I think if it does, it's in an absolutely minuscule way. Cause I know a ton of jacked masculine dudes that, play with reishi and stuff, and they don't experience any of that. And I also think
it does it for women.
I mean,
or maybe it balances
great.
it.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. It brings, what did I say? Estrogen. It brings your testosterone down. So yeah, women have testosterone. So yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, that's why it's called the Queen, but I think it's good for everyone though. I do think it's good for everyone. And mushrooms are like spiritual in themselves, not just psilocybin mushrooms. Like they're like an alive, smart, thing. Like fungus is crazy.
Yeah, like a consciousness. I actually, last time I was hiking, or a couple times ago, I found some mushrooms. I didn't know they're reishi, but I took pictures and somebody was like, that's reishi mushroom. So next time I think I'm going to grab one off the tree.
Yeah. Yep. And always leave a little, leave a good chunk of it to keep going. And if
there were like, because he sent me pictures, there were like, I don't know, several of them on. Would you just take one of them and leave the others, or do you take a partial of one?
You can take a bunch of them as long as you're leaving some. I'd say leave a third or a quarter.
Okay.
A third, I would say, so more people can come across it, and then it can just keep going.
Yeah.
And what could I do with that if I had that, just the mushroom itself? What we're thinking?
You could dry it out. You can make a tea of it. And if you dry it out, you could make a tincture of it. So, and if you do that, what I would say is you want to dry it out. So it's completely dry, like on a very low setting in your oven or a dehydrator. And then once it's completely dried out, you want to actually, wait. Should you be doing it in an oven? Just try to let it dry out naturally or outside without actually applying heat to it. And then get it to a powder, like put it in a NutriBullet or something. And this is what I try to tell people, like with most tinctures, you want dried, not fresh herbs, and you want it down to a powder, the smallest granules substance that you can get it, because you want the liquid to be able to move through that substance, as willfully as it wants, so the smaller you break it down, the better. And I usually I'll fill it, this mason jar, I'd probably fill it to here with the powder. And then all the way up to like here, I'd fill it with, for reishi, I would do 50% distilled water and 50% 190 Everclear. That's how I would do that. And then
Everclear.
then you want to do a water one. So this is what I learned at Mushroom Mountain and stuff too. It's about making the water alkaloids available and the alcohol alkaloids available. So, and instead of just doing half water, half alcohol, that still just makes alcohol, because you're really just diluting the Everclear, and it's just more of an appropriate ratio. But then you want to do a separate tincture the same way, but with just distilled water. And so you shake those every single day very vigorously for at least 6 weeks. And at the end of those, when you strain those and filter those, you add them together. So then you're combining the water and the alcohol tinctures in a marriage, in an alchemical marriage, and that works really well.
All right.
Oh, wow. So you do them separately. You do one with alcohol and the other with water. And then at the end, you combine them.
Well, right. One with half alcohol, half water, and then one with all water.
If you're using really strong alcohol, if you're using like 80 proof, then don't cut it with water. You know what I mean?
But if you're using Everclear, then you cut it with water.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Because that's almost like.
Yeah. It's
100% alcohol.
100%.
So. Yeah. You just want half. So. Woo.
Okay.
80 is good.
So what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you said shake it vigorously. On the episode that Crrow just did with Fortune, he called it a vibrator, and I didn't know what he was. I was like what is this thing like that?
They have a machine that shakes it.
Yeah, he's like, get yourself a vibrator, and then Crrow said it too, and I'm like,
it would look like a jack off machine.
I went
now that I think about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I went to Amazon and I'm like, I don't know what to type in except for that word. So I typed in that word, and then I get the, I know. I was like expecting weird stuff, but I didn't get super weird stuff. I got the massage. They look like a massage gun almost. Have you seen those? And then they have the exchangeable tips. And then.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And then like you use them on acupressure points in your body and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, you see them at chiropractors' offices and stuff. And now they sell them. They just sell them all over anyway. But I saw a lot of those. But then I was like, how would I find that? So I looked up. So I typed in, I thought, in a laboratory, because in a laboratory you would use something like that, right? And I thought, so I think I typed in something like alchemical or alchemy laboratory vibrator. And then it was like, and then it said vibrating table. And I was like, oh, okay. So I clicked that, and then I got a bunch of results.
Okay.
So it's like a little table, like almost imagine a scale.
Yeah.
But it vibrates. So I guess it shakes the crap out of your little substance. And then
I'd have to see that. I don't see how a vibration could be as strong as smashing it back and forth against the glass. I don't know it, but it could be. If Saint Germain said it, man, I'll definitely. Yeah,
and Fortune said like the more frequency or something, like the better it is, and
it might be vibrating frequencies directly into it. We do that too. We'll vibrate different frequencies into the liquid products that we have. So maybe that's what they're doing.
Okay. See, yeah, I don't think he went into it, but yeah.
I still got to finish it.
How do you guys do that?
Yeah, it was pretty good. So let's see. I'm going to order the Elderberry Serum once it's back. I'm going to get it once you have it in stock.
Yes.
So what's the difference between that and the Banju? Because you said they're kind of similar, or that has elderberry in it. And is Banju like a plant or a tree or something?
Banju is just what we call the combination of the burdock, Santa Maria, elderberry, and blue vervain. That's just what the combination is called. But the difference is that the elderberry syrup is mainly elderberry, so it's focused on elderberry. You'll taste the elderberry and Banju, but it's much more of a medicinal taste. Like when you taste it, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's good for me. But the elderberry,
the banju's more like medicinal, like
yes.
Dr. Pepper.
Well, just like,
I'm just kidding.
Like earthy, you know, but like,
okay, got it.
You'll still taste the elderberry, but the elderberry syrup it's like, it tastes really good.
Yeah.
So like I'm drinking like a ton of it, and you got to be careful too, because like elderberry is technically like a poison. And we can handle certain amounts of it. Yeah. And, you know, it's great because animals and insects and stuff can't handle it. So it gets protected in that way. But you can drink too much of it and start having issues. So I stick to like 1 to 3 tablespoons every 4 hours if I'm detoxing. If not, I just take like 2 tablespoons once a day, you know.
Okay. So like just a quick question. So right now, do you take a lot of your products on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how do you fit that in? There's so many.
Oh, not every one of them. No. Okay. I have like all of the stuff that I make. I get the bottom of everything. I get the sludge of everything. But it's I just in the morning I get up, I take my Irish iron, I take magnesium, I just take everything in kind of like in order, or throughout the day, like, you know.
Okay, tell us about the Irish iron, and do you have a magnesium product as well?
No, we don't. We're working on a liver detox package we have been working on for a while, but it got changed recently, so we changed a little bit, but that has magnesium in it. But no, we just use Clive DeCarle's magnesium capsules. He's got phenomenal magnesium capsules.
I bought them once before. Yeah.
I felt like an antidepressant the first time I took them. Wow. I was like, wow, like magnesium deficient indeed, you know. Wow. Yeah. So Irish iron is burdock root, which is also in banjo, and it's got yellow dock. And those both two we use the roots of, and then we use Irish sea moss and bladderwrack, which are 2 algae. And man, that's what we replaced Najla's prenatals with. She was taking prenatals and getting really sick from them when she was pregnant with our first child. And you know, I just started looking into, once we went down the natural route that we talked about, I was like, you know, there's something to replace everything. So I just went through some of the herbs that I had, and then I just kept researching other ones, and I kept seeing Irish sea moss come up. And so all these things are diuretic. They're all blood purifiers, and they're all nutrient packed. They help women and children mostly, but they're definitely good for everyone. Like I take it every day. Burdock root is a superfood. It's a fever reducer, kills germs and bacteria. Yellow dock is just an overall, again, nutrient packed root. You know, some people say it affects your hormone levels, like in a good way. So they'll use it in combination with red clover for, you know, that time of month. I think that's a great idea. Najla will just drink banjo or take Irish iron, but you could just go for, you know, yellow dock on its own. And then bladderwrack is the other algae. And that is it's really good. A lot of people use it for like thyroid health and stuff, but it's got a lot of amino acids in it. So people use it for like a healthy mood too, but it's only giving you a healthy mood because your body is then healthy. That's being happy, like America. Like, I just want to be happy. That's just a byproduct of living correctly, you know, which is having good health. Like, that shouldn't be the end goal, but it does, you know, so it helps you build your body back up. So you do have that byproduct. It's not a bad byproduct to have at all, but it's just, it shouldn't be the main focus. That comes when you do everything else right, you know? So, and Irish sea moss is just like Dr. Sebi always talked about it. And, you know, he attributed the reason why he could just drop to his knees and land on a hardwood floor with no pain to Irish sea moss, you know, and he could like jump on top of high tables in his 80s and shit. So yeah, just Irish sea moss. And it's like
bone health or what's that like?
Bone health. Yeah, I mean, it just boosts the immune system. It kills bacteria, improves digestion. It's an antioxidant, replenishing of essential vitamins. It does, but like at the end of the day, I do think it's more spiritual. There's qualities to these things that you can quantify and like list cause and effects and results of what it does and blah blah blah. But it is different for everyone, and it's about supporting your immune system, or the chain reaction that we call your immune system. And, replenishing the vitamins is a big part. You got to change your oil,
Absolutely. There's still a lot on your list here. Let's see. We have the Rebel Joe coffee extract, the white willow bark, the turmeric tincture, the elderberry lemonade. Oops, I went the wrong way. I don't even know where I'm at. What are the, like, maybe do a couple more of maybe that we haven't mentioned, unless.
Sure. Green foods is a good one. That's our other capsules. It's just like a blend of superfoods. And this past year we added black squid ink to it, which is really cool because good black squid ink that's not cuttlefish ink is like kind of hard to come by. So we finally found like a supplier. And yeah, it's just been really good. It's been helping people, like I said, side success. It's been helping people with like stomach issues and things. So that's cool. I was happy to see that because that's not what I intended it for. But again, that's a byproduct of just being healthy. Mm-hmm. So it's just moringa, chlorella, and black squid ink. That's it. And that means it's packed with fatty acids, and all your omega-3 fatty acids is packed. It's just packed with nutrients. So it helps pregnancies a lot. I'm very careful with what I say about pregnancies, but it does, like, just factually, if you look into it, it makes your nails and hair healthy, kind of like selenium. It helps with RA too, rheumatoid arthritis. These are all very common things that people know. This is public information. And then moringa helps. Mainly, I think it's best for arthritis and stuff. And again, that's just because it's just providing you the ammunition you need to heal yourself. That's all it is. I mean, we're putting nutrients into capsules so people can just heal themselves. That's what your body does. I mean, it's a magical realm. It heals itself. When you get a cut when you're a kid, like wow, it's like not there anymore. You're at the pinnacle of your health. You ever gotten really unhealthy and then get sliced open? Your body like won't repair itself.
Yeah.
Like you'll just have an open cut. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to give people all the possible nutrients they need so their body can heal themselves. Like some people are like, oh, allopathy bad, plant medicine bad, nothing is good. And it's like, okay, but you got to get to that stage though. You can't all be breatharians right out the gate.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one day, but not yet.
Right.
That's awesome. So what about conduction? I see that here.
Yeah. Conduction's out of stock. I got to get back into that. That's our like body. How do I say it? It's like a workout blend. So I made this because exactly for that reason. It's like, I do push-ups every day, and some days are just like way harder than others. So I just started, I just started looking for other extracts and other types of tree medicine that could produce like a physical stimulation. Best Earth is great for the mental, and the mental stimulation will get you to power through and do the physical exertion. So that all works out together. But conduction makes that even easier, in my opinion. So for us, it makes us want to talk and want to accomplish the shit we need to accomplish. I don't think it'll make everyone want to talk, but I'm a talker. So I guess that's probably what it does for me. But So it's got Shilajit in it, and then Aroxylum indicum. That's just a bark extract. It's got stimulation properties. And then epicachin. Some people say it differently, but I call it epicachin. It's just a leaf concentration, and that provides also physical stimulation. So, and the Shilajit has, over 84 minerals, fulvic acid, and it absorbs and removes harmful radiation. So Shilajit is really cool. Shilajit is like the concentrated rock minerals, that are on the top of these mountains that like occur over hundreds of years of minerals compiling like from liquid to solid. It's almost like a rock, and we get it powdered. And some people say powder is not as good, but if you're getting it from a reputable person and they have good quality, and you can take it for yourself and you're a good judge of what is good quality, you learn that like things come in many different forms. Mm-hmm. So, and they're not always in one form better than another form or vice versa. So I put them all together in a ratio where I, thought you should only be able to take one capsule. Like we were talking about earlier too, handfuls of capsules always make people kind of like doubtful, or, it must not be that powerful. I want to get things into one capsule. That's like the goal. Like Google says, we just eventually want to get to one answer. I'm like, I kind of get that.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Get that feeling. Well, I guess
people love it. It's great. Yeah.
I guess it's not a stretch if we just finish up, because there's not that many more left.
Cool.
Let's see. Hawthorne berry and bilberry extracts. That just comes as a combo. You don't sell them separately?
No, we don't sell them separately.
Okay.
We do it as a combo because I want people to take them together.
Okay.
So they work really well together. They both have similar attributes. Like they both help with eye health, but the main thing is heart health and blood sugar levels. That's what we're going for with this. So people in our family have had like diabetic family members and stuff wake up with their toes like numb in the morning, right? And then they take a full drop or two of each of these, Hawthorne and bilberry, every morning, and a week later their toes aren't numb. That's what we've experienced in our family. So I want people to take them together because I think they strengthen each other. We soak them in sunlight so they're sun charged, and they're the only tinctures we do that for. They help with your cholesterol levels. They kind of balance everything out. I mean, and they taste really good too because they're berries. I love Hawthorne and bilberry. That's like a very important combo. And people doing iboga or whatever, they get worried about taking their blood pressure medication while they're doing that, blah, 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 a lot. And some of these people will transition before the iboga from their med to the Hawthorne bilberry combo. Not saying anyone should do that, but that has what has happened with us.
So, oh, wow. So once they're done with iboga, before they try the iboga, they transition out of their blood pressure medication using Hawthorne and bilberry.
Some of them, yeah. If they all have done it weaning down. No one has that I know. Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
So, and everyone that's wondering or curious about getting off things, type into YouTube or online specifically what drug you're taking and just type in side effects or how to get off or withdrawal, and not for instructional things, but so you can learn about what other people typically go through when they go through it, if you don't already know yourself. And you can get some catharsis in learning that, you're not going through this alone, and there are solutions and people have made it out on the other side,
Yeah, that's awesome. How about white willow bark?
Anti-inflammatory. That's what's behind aspirin. Bayer aspirin. That's how they created that. They used white willow bark. It was silica, or is that what's in it? That makes the Yeah, salicin or something. Salicin, I think that's the main ingredient, the active ingredient that helps reduce inflammation. That's in aspirin. So we're just taking what they took before they bastardized it and perverted it and altered it into something they could patent and copyright and then make money off of and sue anyone and destroy anyone who tried to also use nature in a similar way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're just trying to give people the original shit that we can't patent.
Absolutely. I love that. It's a totally it replaces, aspirin and Tylenol and all that crap,
Yeah, which is horrible for you, and it eats away at your cartilage, and man, it's really bad for you.
Yeah. Well, that's really awesome. And then you have a turmeric and black pepper as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also anti-inflammatory, right? But is there anything else? And how does it compare with the white willow bark?
It depends what I don't know. They're very different. Okay. I don't know. They're both anti-inflammatories. The black pepper extract makes the turmeric stronger in terms of that way. But they're just different methods to do similar things. Turmeric extract with black pepper extract, we make a double extract of that, and that, if taken in the right dose, could be a potentiator for certain things, just like grapefruit juice would be for a lot of drugs and a lot of natural things. Turmeric with black pepper can also do that, so it can increase the potency of kratom for some people and things like that.
Oh.
Yeah, but anti-inflammatory mainly.
Okay. So if somebody did want to increase the potency of kratom, how would they do that with the turmeric and black pepper? Let's say they take how many capsules or...
Well, if okay, so this is another thing. If you want to buy turmeric extract, you got to be so careful, because here, I'll give you all examples, because I hold on to certain bottles so I can reference them in the future. So like I bought this 4 years ago, and it says, it's okay on the front. It says, I got labels over it. It says like 2,000 milligrams turmeric extract, right? And then you flip it on the back, and it says turmeric. Or no, I'm sorry. It says 2,620 milligrams of turmeric extract, right? On the back, it says supplement facts. Turmeric, just the root itself, not the extract, 2,400 milligrams. So 2,400 of that 2,620 is not extract. It's just any turmeric you buy in a store to flavor something. So if you have to like go through all these companies, so when you flip it on the back, it should say turmeric extract, and then you need over like 1,500 milligrams.
Okay.
So this turmeric extract is 200 milligrams of extract in here. So you need 1,500 to 2,500 with black pepper, and you need 15% of it to be the black pepper extract. Piper Biopurine is one of the ways they explain black pepper extract. That's one of the names for it. But yeah, if you like, this is a good company. If you're looking for good turmeric extract that's not liquid, we make a really good extract that's liquid, but
okay,
the capsules are great too. I mean, liquid is good for immediate, and I think capsules and taking the plant in its whole, like the tincture would be the soul that you extracted from it without the body. But if you're taking the plant itself, you're getting the body and the soul. And I feel like the body can carry the soul longer almost. So like some capsules will have a stronger effect than the liquid in terms of over a period of time and how long it lasts and how thorough it is. Liquid is good for immediate. It's for that immediate burst, but it doesn't necessarily carry as long, in my opinion.
Okay. And so the kratom's like that too.
Yes. Same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. You also have Rebel Joe coffee extract.
Yeah, do you guys know who that is? Rebel Joe?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy. I like his coffee so much.
Oh.
And I was just like, man, I want to make I would like to, because then I would run out of coffee and I'd be like, fuck, like, it'd be nice to just have something I could, or I run out of like the stuff that I put in coffee. It'd just be nice that I get the same effects from an easy way to do it. Or if like you're in a meeting and you forgot to get your coffee and you're like, shit, the meeting's about to start and barely awake, you can take just one full dropper of that and shit, just the taste will wake you up because it's very potent. It's like, it's very intense. It's like,
it's more potent than a cappuccino.
yeah, I think so. Taste wise.
Or what do they call the little cups? Are those cappuccinos?
Is that cappuccino?
Espresso.
Yeah,
Espresso. Yeah. Brandon knows, he went to Italy.
Yeah, I've been to Italy.
That's what's up, dude.
Oh yeah, Italy is amazing. Highly recommend it. I mean, I was there in the 90s. I don't know how it is now, but I'm sure it's still pretty amazing.
I'm sure it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So many beautiful places. I think we hit all your stuff.
Ooh.
I mean, besides the stuff like that you have, like I think you have a t-shirt and some other stuff.
We got other stuff. Yeah.
What are the benefits of t-shirts? No, I'm just kidding.
Tell us about your t-shirt. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. What else did we want to talk about?
Tips for singles, maybe?
Yeah. So I guess as a final question for everyone, I am one of the admins of the singles chat, the Bertaria singles chat. Oops. And I noticed the other day on Bertaria that you posted you had your 5th anniversary, your wedding anniversary.
Yes.
And you guys just like look so great. And every time I see you guys on camera and stuff, like when you're on a show and she comes in or whatever, you guys are just really sweet. And I just wanted to know if you had any tips for the singles, because sometimes I shamelessly plug the show in that chat. So I'll just tell them to have a little tip for them.
Yeah, 100%. And Najla said hi to y'all. She was calling me earlier. That's why I stepped away. She's like, go share on.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yo, Najla is the absolute best. Okay, so advice for the single people.
How'd you guys meet?
How'd we meet? We met in Bible study in church. Well, that's where I first saw her, and she saw me, and then I like the night I met her, as she turned around and walked away, I prayed with like my hands like that. And I was like, I want to marry someone just like that. And I thought I shouldn't say her because she was like with someone at the time. And I thought that'd be fucked up to pray to marry someone who's with someone. Yeah. So I was like, someone just like her, because in the Bible study, she was so sure. She was the only person in the room that like had a smile on her face. Like she knew exactly what the fuck she was talking about. So her faith was strong. She was beautiful. And then a few weeks later, I met her going to this church, and they needed a bass player for the band. She was playing keyboards in it. And so then we just started playing in the same band and started talking. Cool. Yeah. And I just did what I was supposed to do. I was at a loss at that time in my life. I had lost a lot of things and I didn't know what to do. So I just started going to a Bible study. I started being very simple, and bettering myself. So I think that's a great way to find people. Better yourself. And that shit will just appear. It really does. Just like better yourself. Never try to have an agenda, at least from a man's perspective, to get a woman or say the right thing to make her blah, blah, blah. Just be yourself, have a good time, and have a mission. Like Owen talks about that too. Have an end goal, have an end game. Like women don't want to be your end game. They want you to have an end game that they can join you on. Like the woman isn't the mission, because the woman is the byproduct of the mission. You know what I mean? And not to downgrade that, but that should take weight off the woman's shoulder too, and the men's. Like it's not this, well, if I impress her, if I do this or say this, then she'll do this. And then you play out shit in your head. Don't think like that. Get out of your head and just do you, and be patient as fuck, dude. And then once you find them, you have to know what you're even wanting to do in life too. Do you want to be with, like, know exactly what you want and then go crush and do you, but don't make that the mission, if that makes sense. And then once you find it, just be so good to it. Just be so good to it and leave all of your past relationship shit at the door. If you didn't trust women before this new trustworthy one shows up, trust her. Even though everything in your past and your experience is telling you don't trust her, you got to trust her. That's the only way. It's the only way. You're not going to find anything good if you're constantly paranoid and suspicious.
Absolutely.
You know? Be a good man, and your woman won't want to cheat on you. She won't want to leave you. You won't have to worry. It's really about being a good person. And it's like, what a psyop. They told us, and these people think they're getting into heaven just because they're a good person. Well, they didn't say the magic word. Like, oh my God. Like, and I used to be like, yeah, right. I know. It don't matter. You're a good person. I'm like, dude, wow, we were fucked up, dude.
I know. I remember wondering to myself, like, I just remember hearing people, like, even like Muslim people. I knew this Muslim girl several years ago when I was really I wasn't super churchy, but I was still churchy, and she'd just be like, I'm just doing this to get to heaven, because I just got to be good to people to get to heaven. And I just thought to myself, wow, how sad,
He doesn't even know. Yeah.
But at the same time, she was doing it. She was being good to people.
Yes.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah. I will remember the person that was an asshole to me that just walked out of a church and whatever, you know what I mean? But I'm more going to remember the person that didn't walk out of a church, didn't say any magic word, and was really good and kind to me. And that will be the person that changes my behavior and changes the way I look at other people and, how I feel about other people. And it's like, so many people, if they get treated poorly, they're like, oh, okay, then I'm going to treat people poorly. It's like, no, dude, that's where the turn the other cheek shit comes. Don't let bad people's behavior phase you. It's not like let people walk all over you and beat the shit out of you. It's don't let other people
don't take things personally.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, man, it's what are your priorities? Who do you care? Who's your master? If someone offends you, they're your master almost. That's kind of what it can come down to,
Yeah, if they can make you angry, they could totally control you.
That's everything, bro. That's it. That's it, That's it. So yeah, just stay the course, keep doing what you know is right. Have faith. Know that you weren't just put here to suffer and die. Like, you were put here to learn some shit. So what is being shown to you? What are you supposed to pick up on right now that you're supposed to then teach other people in other ways in the future, And it's like, focus on those things, and the woman and the man will just show up,
Great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I don't know, Brandon, what do you think?
Let's see. Is there any other questions you can think of? I think we're pretty full of some information now. This would be a good episode to watch a couple times.
Well, we didn't really talk about astrology. I thought we were going to go in a little bit into that. I mean, this doesn't have to be super long, but are we okay with time, Brandon?
Yeah, we got a little bit of time.
Okay. So let's see. What did you want to talk about with regards to astrology? Is there any particular thing that you wanted us to look up on our charts?
I don't know. I had questions before. Now I can't. I don't know. But I just think it's cool that you guys are into it. And you guys seem to know a little more about tarot than I do. And so that's interesting to me. I don't know. Why don't you guys, do you guys know I'm sure you guys do, your moons and your
Top
rising
three.
and your sun?
Yeah. Yeah. Brandon, you start.
All right. Oh, I'm a Cancer sun, Virgo moon, and I can't think of my rising sign right now, which is so bad. So this is the thing. I when I got into all this stuff, there was just so many things like tarot, astrology, Kabbalah, like all these things. And it's funny because a lot of people will say this stuff is evil, but I really feel it's like a tool and it could be
It's a
used.
clock.
Yeah, exactly. And I have you ever heard of Michael Tessarion?
I don't think so.
He's
No, you would know if you knew him.
yeah, you would know. He's just one of these guys. He makes videos and writes books and stuff right now, but he's been onto this stuff for a long time, and he is really into studying history. And he thinks that it was all at one time. It was like one science all combined, one art form.
That's the syncretism idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's
Yeah,
similar.
it's similar to that very much. And
yeah, so do you think that's what it was? And then they split it up, gave everyone a piece of the puzzle?
yeah, I think just like language, that's kind of what happened too. We got split up that way, and they were made to, well, first they were demonized, and then also they were made into certain clubs where some people had this and some people had that. It's kind of like, you ever watch the G.I. Joe movie with the Weather Dominator? Like the Weather Dominator gets split into 3 pieces and it's all over the world. Like, I think that was an allegory for belief systems or something, but
yeah.
And I always tell people it really isn't for everybody. If you have an aversion to it, especially tarot, then maybe you should stay away from it. It's just like a gun, because I remember when I first got into guns and everything, I was like super excited about it. And I would always carry my gun with me. And not that I don't now, but allegedly, but I was more like on this mission to like, I'm going to save the world. And it was all coming from the ego. Yeah. And now I look at it in a totally different light, whereas it's just a tool on my tool belt, and hopefully I'll never have to use it. But if I do, it's there. And then I have to also deal with the consequences of it. And then same thing with tarot. A lot of times you go to a tarot reader and they try to, just like a doctor and regular allopathy, they try to get you hooked in. So now that you're their client, and then they have to help you with every single thing. The way that I view it is more like a way from self-healing and self-love. And plus, I've done all this research in the past like 6 or 8 years about psychology and all this stuff, so I could sprinkle it in with my reading without trying to preach to somebody, and they're coming to me for information, and then I just really let the synchronicity kind of do the rest. And the way that I feel about astrology is, I feel like you said, it's like a clock that's up in the sky, and it somehow reflects what's going on here. I don't feel like there's planets that make us do these things. I think it's just a reflection of what's going on. So you can look up at different aspects and when they're going to change, and then what's going to happen. And another thing that really helped.
That's like time isn't real. You're saying that we're just tapping into like what's already happened, like what is, rather than what's about to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing that's really helped me with astrology is I was deeper into it when I first got into it. I got a book and I looked up all my different planets and I read about the different stuff and the aspects, and it just helped me accept myself for who I am instead of trying to change myself. And then once I was able to accept it, I could let go of things that I perceived maybe as negative. But it wasn't like I was always beating myself up because I was a certain way. I go, oh, I get it. This is the way that I perceive reality, and this is the way that I act, but it's still up to me to be a good person. I can't just blame I'm a Cancer. It's not my fault that I'm being a dick, like that's.
You should clip that. That was fucking phenomenal. The way you just said that. Go on.
That could be the clip, Brandon.
Yeah,
that was great.
All right. Awesome.
I agree.
Put that part in. So That's what I always tell people. If you're interested in it, there's plenty of information, free information online. It's really just about getting to know yourself, because I also got really deep into the personality types. And if you find the right information on that, there's a lot of really good information too, because it really is about getting to know yourself. And then the more you know yourself, you can love yourself, and then you can love other people. But you really have to fix yourself first. It's like when they say, when you're on an airplane and something crazy happens, the oxygen masks drop, you got to put yours on first. And that being on a plane is kind of like being a normie. Everything's fine. But then, something goes wrong. It's like, what the hell? That's when you wake up and you're like, oh my God, this world is not what I thought. It's totally inverted. Everything I've ever learned was a lie. And you want to just go share it with everybody. And that's where I think people get caught in a trap, because then they're pointing the finger at everybody else. But if you could just learn to put your oxygen mask on first and to heal yourself, then you could really help other people.
I just thought of something as you said that. Oh my God. Because like some people are, might say like, well, what if I put the oxygen mask on my baby first before I put it on myself? Right. So, but I just got this vision in my head about like, if you and lots of people around you were drowning, you have to save yourself first. You can't save someone else if you are drowning yourself. So
yeah, a tow truck can't tow out a car if the tow truck is caught in a ditch also. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
I like that one.
It's like that, right? It's like,
yeah,
good analogy.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's crazy. And it's like, and then there's other kind of blurred lines of that. It's like I literally don't think I could get clean for myself when I did get clean. Like I had to do it for Najla and she was having a baby. So like in those ways, but I was doing it to take care of I still was though taking care of myself by doing it itself. Okay. So yeah, that's all true.
Yeah, for sure. I was just talking about in the aspect, like when you first find out about 7-Eleven being a part-time job, you want to tell the world, yes. Kennedy, he wasn't killed by Oswald. Like you want to tell the world, and some people aren't ready for it. And it just becomes frustrating. And then you alienate yourself from other people. Whereas what I've learned, the best way to do it is to work on myself. Why does this bother me? That other people don't want to listen. And then when I come across certain people, like I just went hiking with a friend of mine this weekend, and I've known her since high school. And I started telling her about my show, about the Over Sharon show. A big shout out to the chat, by the way. Thank you guys for hanging out. We love you.
Yeah, much love.
Yeah, they're awesome. It's like the best part of our week. We get to hang out in the chat every Thursday night, guys. Check us out here at the Over Sharon show. But she was really interested in it, and I could just go further and further. And then I knew where to kind of stop, but she was really interested in everything. I mean, we were talking about like realm Earth and how it might not be a spinning ball and all this stuff. And she was like, wow, she's like, yeah, that sounds right. And I was like, whoa.
Like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Like I will overshare with you.
Yeah. And in that way, and I keep telling her, and what I keep telling people is really the key is to just don't look at yourself as a victim, because when you start to go down these rabbit holes about world control and like the Illuminati or whatever, you really could start to, most people feel like a victim because of it, because they're like, how dare they do this to us? How dare all these people? It's like, well, guess what? No one's doing anything to you. You're doing it all to yourself because of your fear.
Yeah. It's like playing a video game, and it's like the person you're shooting at, you're like, how fucking dare they shoot at me? I'm like, no, dude, they're living their purpose. They're playing their role. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. And
that's exactly, when you look at somebody as they're playing their role, then there's no victim consciousness there.
We're working on a t-shirt that says, there are no victims, only mindsets, in line with what y'all are saying.
Oh, that's, I like awesome. That. Let me know. I'm going to get one.
What doesn't Fortune Germain say? There are no victims, only
volunteers.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Really awesome. But we were supposed to talk about our sun signs and we didn't ever get there, but it's okay.
Right. Well, I don't know. I think astrology is really cool just because like you want to know what time it is energetically. Like it's not about like, oh, is it evil? Is it not evil? Get that out of your head and just know that Genesis 1 talks about the sky clock being there for us. That's the end right there. That's the whole thing. So what is it? Okay. So how could it be there for us, for NASA to go up there and study it and look at it and tell us lies, which every Christian supports? No, I disagree. I think it's for us. Like Brandon was saying about the using astrology, the heathens or the pagans were uncontrollable because they still had that sky clock system, because that was just instructing them on when to harvest, when to plant, when to, all that, and when to detox, all that. So it really just helps you live your life in the natural procession that is going on at all times. That helps you tune into it. So people that point at it and say evil, you're saying that everything Yah created, including the most wonderful thing, the firmament sheweth his handiwork, right? One of the most, that is the example the scriptures use to say, look at what a cool creator this dude is. And that's the one thing you want to point at and call evil, man. It's just because evil people use it doesn't mean, like, evil people drive cars too. You should probably hand over your fucking car,
Well, that's why Brendan always uses the example of the gun, and I use the example of the hammer. Like, you can build a home, or you can bash somebody's head with it.
Yes.
It's like it's in the hands or the eyes of the beholder. It's like it's what you do with it.
You're so right. So these gun wielding, astrology hating Christians are doing the same thing that anti-gun people do. They're blaming the gun. That it's the same shit.
Yeah. A lot of these systems of control, like government or religion, like hardcore stuff, they all have the same pattern. It's just that people don't recognize it. And what's at the heart of it that I found is people kind of hate themselves, and they don't want to look inside and fix things inside. So it's easier for them to point to other stuff to say that they're better than that. Well, at least I'm better than that guy because he does this. Yeah. And again, these aren't judgments, because this is where I was. I had to get over some of this stuff too. I used to think, not that I thought that tarot or astrology was evil. I mean, when I was younger and born again Christian and stuff like that, I did. But as I got older, I just thought it was a way to trick people. I didn't think there was anything actually to it until I started to study history and alternate history, and then symbolism. And symbolism is an entire language that is in our face all the time. That's one thing that guy, Michael Tessarion, did, an older video from like 2003. He broke down every corporation symbol and was showing you what it was. And I was just like, what the hell? Yeah. So
logos for real.
And then that tells you they're important. It tells you that shit means something. Like,
exactly. And I found it's even in nature, there's symbolism. Like when I go hiking, sometimes I'll find a tree that falls and it made like a triangle, and I just kind of look at it, or a certain rock. And if nothing else, it puts me in the present moment. You know what I mean? Like it just gets me out of my head, and it gets me into a better space, really. So
I could just sit around all day and wonder, if I didn't have so much work to do. And I could just wonder about how, like Job, wasn't it Job? So he's like, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Dude, that is something we need to just like really meditate on. Like we weren't, I don't know, maybe we were there, but we don't know right now. Like we don't know so much about this place. We weren't here when the foundations were laid. Like there's so much more to learn. And that's super important. And it's funny. Would you guys agree that astrologers are more naturally conspiratorial, most astrologers, than regular people? Like, because they see clear cause and effect. They see Babylon and the world use astrology to their malefic advantage, right? And so I'll hear a lot of astrologers talk, and they're like awake, but they might think this is real or that's real or whatever, but they get that that you shouldn't be focusing on it. Like people will talk about, the flu that just happened in the last 2 years, and they'll be like, yeah, but why are you watching the news? And these aren't truthers; these are astrologers. Like, yeah, but watching the news is clearly affecting your spiritual well-being. I'm like, these people are fucking crushing. Like,
they get it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're more base than most of these motherfuckers. So
yeah, and another thing I'll say also, just like Crrow says, to put a fine point on this,
right?
When you're talking about these tools,
all right, man.
When you're talking about these tools like astrology and tarot or whatever it is, even the devil, all these things, if you really believe that God created everything, he created also all these things that you are demonizing. And from our point of view as a man, we can't understand that. it's a mystery to us, right? But at the end of the day, it does have to all be perfect. If God created it and you agree that God's perfect, he has a plan that we're not aware of. So if you could try to think more like a God, and I'm not saying we are gods, but what I'm saying is if you try to have that frame of mind and do like a thought experiment, and the recent analogy I was using was Lord of the Rings. Like, think of Gandalf, right? He wasn't a man. He was a wizard. He came from the other shores and he was like this other eternal being. And then he came as a man to help people. The way he saw things was so much different than any man did or hobbit or whatever. So he would try to explain that to him, especially about compassion. Like when it came to killing, everybody wanted to kill Gollum. And he's like, he still might have some part to play. You never know. And he knew that just because he wasn't a man. So I think that as long as we can acknowledge that we're men and women and we don't understand it all, that's really the best frame of mind to be when you come at this stuff, because whenever you're questioning anything in the creation at all, you're technically questioning God. You know, I mean, could it be?
Yeah. Could it be?
You're not trusting. You're absolutely right. You're not trusting his end goal. You're not trusting the plan. Trust the plan, dude.
Yeah, because like you said,
trust the right plan.
Yeah, trust the plan. If we're here to learn things, like you were saying, if that's your belief, and a lot of people believe that we're here to learn things and work on our eternal soul, well, maybe there has to be these pitfalls and traps and evil, terrible things. And we've talked about this before. If we are really eternal beings, then even if people are getting killed, it's not the end. So as a person, as a man, as a woman, yes, it's right to be outraged. But then if you're thinking of like as a God, there's another plan that we can't see. So all you can do really is just do your thing and still treat people, you know, like Job. They took everything from him, but he didn't care. He was still trusting the plan, right?
Yes.
And it worked out for him in the end. So
well, bro, I feel like Job all the time. I lost both my parents. I lost a ton of things materially. I have lost multiple people in my life. And I don't know if the first section of my life that I lived, I don't know if my life now could exist at all in any type of capacity if none of that happened. And now when I look at my wife and my 3 children, ages 1, 2, and 3, basically, like, and you know, we got to move to a new location and I have a business that I love. Like, man, I have everything. I have so much to lose now. And it was worth losing everything I had to gain this, to make room for this. You know, it's like there's this quote or a lyric. It's like giving up on a hurt feeling to make room for some happiness. And that's totally what it is. Like, you know, you're making room. So yeah, dude. And like the end of the story won't make sense, you know, if you haven't seen the beginning of the story. So, and if you haven't seen the end of the story, but you've seen know that there's an end, you know that there's an end, and that you do have a role to play. Like, free will exists in a way, but like tarot, this is what I wanted to ask you, Brandon, too, like about the tarot. Would you agree that it's like archetypal? Like everyone, like life comes down to simple foundational things. The only experiences we go through, there's only so many types. And then all the details are like endless. The details can be a billion different possibilities, but tarot even works because we live in an archetypal, like only 24 stories have ever been told, but with different details type thing. And it's like, we all go through similar things. It's just, you know, and I think it's just tapping into that. It's just, it can only be built so many ways, you know, and then you fill in the details. So if you look at it like that also explains what you were saying, like how it's a tool, you know, it really is how you use it, how you use things.
Yeah, it's how you use it. And then, you know, there's so many pitfalls with it also, because if you're helping people, then you could develop the ego where, and I'm not saying ego is bad, but you develop this ego like, oh, this is me doing this. Kind of like when you're helping people with your medicines, you could sit there and be like, look at all the people I'm healing, you know?
Yes.
You know, well, I must be great, you know, and then you get attached to that, and that's fine. That's okay.
Like, praise be to me.
Yeah,
almost like I
exactly.
created the herbs.
Yeah, exactly. But
Like I might have grew them or broken them down or worked with them in a certain way, but I did not create them. Like I was not there that day when I laid the foundations of Burdock Root. Now, dude.
Yeah, you're just a conduit. You're a conduit is really what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a old saying that says some people that see like they have those tiger things like at the bottom of a gutter system, and the water comes out of the mouth of the tiger. So some people think that the water, that's where it's coming from. And another one is like it says something like the rooster that crows in the milky dawn thinks its crow is what's making the sun rise.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
No, it's just perspective and what you got to see. Yeah, totally. So
yeah. And there's more to it,
Yeah, totally. I think this might be a good place, though, to put a pin in it. We definitely got to have you back on, though, and talk about more of this.
I would love to. Yeah,
I mean, we could even bust out tarot cards and do a reading and stuff like that.
Bro, let's do all that. We can do more astrology, and we
totally
each of our charts. I would love that.
All right, cool. We'll leave a little cliffhanger for other people then, or for the listeners. And again, big shout out to the chat. Thank you guys. If you're still here at the end, we love you so much. It's really awesome. Oh, you know what? Why don't you tell everybody how they could find your products and the best way to get in contact and all that stuff?
Sure. www.groundedextracts.com. Groundedextracts.com. That's where we have all of our products. And then our link tree is also Grounded Extracts. We've got interviews and like media and stuff on there. And then mellowdome.live is the last place you can find me. We do live streams here and there on Awesome Austin's YouTube channel. So mellowdome.live will take you to that channel, and then you can hear more about people's Iboga trips and things like that.
All right. Well, if you ever want to have either of us on that, let us know too, because we can do tarot and whatever, dude. So yeah. Totally.
We've been getting hit by like very anti tarot people, and like in terms of anti, what I mean is you're not even supposed to be looking at it or talking about it.
Yeah.
Or you're an evil piece of shit. Like, and it's getting to that. So like we don't go too deep into it, but I'm getting to the point where it's like, I mean, I'm always at the point where we're not fucking pandering to anyone. We're gonna look at shit. Like, so we would love to have you guys on is my long answer.
If you want to blow it all open, you can have me on, because I already have the logical jujitsu of I just say
100%.
Do you believe in God? Yes. Do you believe God's perfect? Yes. Did he create everything? Yes. Okay. Therefore, everything is perfect. Sorry. You're arguing with God now. You know what I mean? Like,
if we're talking about objects, yeah. I mean, yeah. Humans are the only fucked up ones.
Yeah. But it's also, I heard it's kind of like if you looked at a forest and you saw all the trees and they're all deformed and stuff, you wouldn't think anything about that. But then when you look at people, then you start the judgment, right? And just like you said, you were fucked up once in your life, and then you had to get out of it and go through it to bloom into this beautiful person who you are now. So some people just take longer, and it's not about
they're playing that role as well.
Yeah, they're also playing the role of the adversary. They're there really to teach us. You could look at it. And again, I'm not some spiritual perfect person. Like I don't always have this frame of mind, but I strive for it. So
right.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great. And it was what you said earlier, man. Yeah, dude. I think you'd be the perfect person to have on too, to talk about this. Because you did a really good job.
Like distilling it down, shall we say?
Yeah. Grounding it,
Yeah, I'd love to. Trust me, I'm like a nerd when it comes to tarot. So I love to talk about all that stuff. And again, I don't even it's not for everybody. It's like, it's like weed. Everyone's like, oh, should I? I'm like, it's not for everybody. I used to do it every day, and then 420 this year I stopped for a month, and now I do it maybe like once a week or something. It just depends. It's like a sacred kind of thing. So I really believe everyone just has their own individual path depending on what they've been through and what they have to do, so where they have to go.
100%. Yeah.
All right.
And that's what Sharon was. Shit. I was going to reference something Sharon said earlier. Now I don't know what it was.
That's all right. She's always over Sharon. We love her.
I forgot right when I said Sharon. Well, it was something Sharon said. So
okay.
Something could be the placeholder for what it was.
Okay.
Shit.
Sharon always says a lot of great things. So
Yeah, I don't remember. Sometimes I'm listening to an episode and I'll be listening to it for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. Oh my God. Tell me about it.
yeah, you're
I'll
so
forget
like
what I said.
Yeah.
I'll be like, did I say that? I said that? Where'd that
You're
come
just
from?
channeling it. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens a lot too, because it's like stand-up comedy, because I did comedy for about 7 years. Sometimes when you just go up there with a premise, especially like at an open mic, I wouldn't suggest doing this at shows, but at an open mic, you just go up there and you kind of say the premise, and then you're under all this pressure because there's people in front of you. So then something just comes out and you're like, oh shit, that was funny. And then you can work on it from there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you again so much for coming on, and we'll definitely have you back sometime to talk about all those fun things. And make sure everybody goes and supports him. Check out his stuff. It's really awesome, top notch. I mean, you could already tell by the way you were describing it and your enthusiasm in it, which I really love.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I love what
Brandon,
I do.
Sharon.
Don't forget that we have new listeners from another channel.
Oh yeah, that's right. So all the people from the Archaics channel, Jason's work that he's been doing, I did a call-in on Santos Bonacci's show, and he was interviewing that guy Jason from Archaics, and I gave my website and stuff. So we have some new listeners because of that now. So we just want to give a shout out to them. Yeah, they're really awesome people. So we plan to talk about that stuff some more. So stay tuned. And thank you guys so much for coming to the Brandon Bonanza channel and giving us a chance here at the Oversharing Show, because we love to overshare what we've learned. And let me tell you, like we tell people, see, James is really busy. You know, he's got a family and a business and stuff. People like me and Sharon, we have a lot less of those responsibilities. So we spend a lot of our time looking into this stuff and then breaking it down and distilling it the same way he does with plants. But we do this with information. We're aggregators of information, and we come across so much good stuff that we share. So check us out, and you could support us at morelawsmoreproblems.com. That's the website. Click on the Oversharing tab, and you can find us everywhere, and any way to support us. But the best way to support us is to just leave a comment or come to the chat every Thursday night and just hang out and talk with us, because that's free and that feels the best.
Absolutely.
So what do we say to the good people, Sharon?
That if you're not oversharing,
then you're totally not caring.
That's right.
That's right. So overshare. We'll talk to you guys next week.